Hi there. So today we are going to uh, use a conveyor so that the items that are going to be taken out of the rack can be placed on the designated conveyor. So let's say we have two types of rack, okay? So let's say rack 1 and another is the rack 2. And we are going to have two types of conveyor or just two conveyors. Just two straight conveyors from here to there, another one for this rack. Okay, so now let's say we need to create two types of product. So let's just go to the process flow and draw a simple process flow with a schedule source. So in the source, let's just create one quantity and let's just have a QE 3D element. Let's just put it here and let's just create the objects from the token. So we can either keep it like this or we can join them together. So in the create object, we're going to create two types of item. So we have done this before. So we are going to use a conditional object. So for this, when you are creating the token, let's just assign something called product category, product cat, and let's just have two types of number, 1 and 2. So when we're creating the object, we are going for a conditional object. So it's going to be like token dot prod cat equals to 1. If it's 1, I want them to look like a box. And if it's not 1, I want them to look like a sphere or something. So the 1 is going to be the box and 2 is going to be the cylinder. So here if I had used 3 instead of 2, it would have been a sphere. If I had used 4, it would have been a pallet. So now I have created the object. I need to specify where the objects appear. I want them to appear on the QE1. So once I have done creating the object, since there are two types of object, so let's say I want to store the boxes on rack 1 and the other one, which is the sphere, on the rack 2. So for that, let's just use the paint slot labels. So we are going to slot label type. We are going to all slots in the same object. So one value is the 1, so is going, and another one is going to be 2. Okay. So once we have finished painting, let's just go back to our flow and let's just take a find slot. So here we want to find a slot. So first thing we want to find, the slot should have a space, and the paint that we just did, let's just see what I called it. I don't know where it went. So the label is called type. So let's just, okay, let it be type. So, and type, mm, levels. So it's called type. Okay. And type equals to uh, token dot prod category. Okay. So now let's see if it's working or not. So there's an exception. Let's just see what is that. I can see the SQL query is not okay. Okay, so in this query, instead of calling it as token, let's just call it $1 because token is already assigned here to this value. So now let's see. Uh, okay, so now it has worked. So see, there is a box. So we were creating only one box. So now let's just create uh, 3000 tokens. Okay, 3000 tokens, and we will be getting 3000 boxes. Let's run it. Okay, so I can see I have my boxes and the spears on the queue, and I have also gotten the slot where I should store them. Okay, so now let's just store them to the racks using a move object. So I'm going to combine these two, and in the move object, the destination is going to be token.slot.as storage.slot.storage object. Okay, that should store my objects into the rack 1 and rack 2. So now if I pay closer attention, I will see that the boxes have nicely arranged on the rack 1 and the spears onto rack 2. Okay, so yeah, so that's what we wanted. So now let's say whenever let's say I want to take some items. There's either box or spear. I want to take them out, and I want the box to appear on rack 1 and go to the end of the rack 1. And for the spear, I want them to appear at the beginning of rack 2 and transport or move to the end of the conveyor 2. So for that, let's just do something like source. Let's just have an inter-arrival source, and let's say every minute there is going to be an order, and it's going to give me a token, right? So, so this token should look for an item. So let's say find item. Okay. So now let's say any item. It can be either box or it can be either the spear. I'm not going to do anything in the query. So once I know which item I need to take, I want that item to appear on the rack. So in the move object, so let's see what options I've got. The object is the item, and the destination is going to be either rack 1 or conveyor 1 or conveyor 2. So let's just say conveyor 1 and see what happens. So now let's see if I run it. Okay, so I can see the items are appearing at the beginning of the rack 1, but they are not moving. So for this, first thing we need to do, we need to make sure the entry transfers on the conveyor 1 and conveyor 2 are visible. I can see that entry transfer is not here yet on both the conveyors. So to do the entry, to make sure the entry transfer has appeared on the conveyor, what we are going to do, we are going to hold A button and connect the rack 1 with conveyor 1. So what this will do, okay, so I can see here is a entry transfer. So now I'm going to delete this connection and I am going to move that entry transfer to here, okay, at the beginning. So now if I specify the destination on this entry transfer 1, then we will see that the items should now be moving on the conveyor. Okay. Wait. Okay. So now I can see the items are on the conveyor. Okay. So now there is an issue. Like you see the boxes and the spears are appearing on the same conveyor. That's not what we wanted. So the ultimate objective of this tutorial was that we need to have some mechanism so that the items that are coming out of rack 1 they go on conveyor 1. So for doing that we are going to do something like click on the rack and on the labels, okay? On the labels we are going to have maybe like a pointer label. No, it cannot be a pointer label. It has to be number label. No, maybe string label. No, maybe array label. No. Then we have got a flex script label. No. Tracked variable label. No. Um, bundle label. No. What can it be? Let's just see. So let's just call it entry transfer. So if it's going to be a pointer level, okay? Let's just call it entry transfer and let's just select the sampler and redirect it to the entry transfer of this conveyor, which is entry transfer 1. Okay. Similarly, we are going to go to this rack and we are going to create another label. Okay, before that, we need to make sure the transfer is visible. Okay, so let's disconnect the connection and let's just move the entry transfer to the beginning of the conveyors. Once we have done that, let's just create a label called pointer label. It's going to be entry transfer and this is going to be the entry transfer 2. Once you have done that, so in the move object, mm, in the move object, so okay, so we had the destination as entry transfer. Okay, so let's just do like token dot slot dot as storage dot slot dot storage object. This should return with a rack, but I'm still not sure if this will work or not. But let's say this should return with a rack in which the item is stored. And okay, let's just do like token dot item dot slot. Okay, token dot item dot slot. Let's just see. Okay, slot dot as storage dot slot dot storage object dot the name of the variable which is entry transfer. So now let's just run it and there is an error. So label doesn't exist. Okay, so on the item, let's just click on one of the boxes. So the item doesn't hold any labels. So that's the issue. So let's just run it again. Okay, since the boxes doesn't have any label, so when you're creating the object and when you're finding the slot, we are assigning the slot to the item. Assign slot to item. Token dot slot, token dot item, token dot item. So let's just try uh, find item. Okay, so the token should be token dot item dot slot. Uh, okay, so slot dot as storage dot slot dot storage object. Okay, so now I should get the rack, and from here I should get the entry transfer. Okay, so in the move object, token dot item dot, let's just say up. So this will return us the name of the rack and the entry transfer. Okay, so in the source, let's just have every minute. Okay, every minute arrival at time 0. Let's run it. So I can see it did find an item. So, and it went through this conveyor. So maybe it has worked. So every minute, let's just run it again. Okay, first one, it had worked. Second one, let's just wait for the next minute. 10 more second here. Say again box. So I'm just waiting for a spear. Okay. Okay. So we have successfully been able to use the entry transfer. So the main thing we have learned here is that the item.up returns the name of the rack. Okay, so this is also very handy, and I hope this will help everyone in complex models. And if you have any questions, you can comment below, and you can let me know if you have any models that you are facing a problem with. Okay, so have a great day, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again in our upcoming video.